In my last three videos, I talked about some of my favorite wide-angle, normal, and telephoto vintage manual focus lenses that I use on my mirrorless cameras. This video is about manual focus zoom lenses. However, I have no favorites. Let me explain. I really don't like manual focus zoom lenses. When I first got interested in photography in the early 70s, there weren't very many good zoom lenses around. Nikon had an 80 to 200 f4.5 that was, I believe from what I read at the time and heard, it was supposed to be the best of the zoom lenses. And I actually own one briefly, and I've tried several others, and I really wasn't crazy about it. Now, the thing I liked least about that lens was the fact that it was a push-pull design. Pushed it out, or you pushed it back to zoom. I didn't like that, and the same ring that you used, the push-pull ring, you also turned it to focus. And I just felt it was too loose on several samples that I tried. And as you pushed, you might change the focus. It was an f4.5, wasn't the easiest lens to focus unless you were out, in the 200 range. It took 52 millimeter filters. A lot of people liked that lens. I did not. Another lens that I also was never crazy about, I picked one up a few years ago. Another push-pull design is the 43 to 86. Now, this is the AI version, which is better than the original non-AI version, but same thing. It's a push-pull design. It's a 3.5 throughout its range, which is nice, but never was crazy about this. And another one that has a great reputation is one of the Series E lenses. It's a 75 to 150 3.5. Same thing. The push-pull design. Push it out, get you to 75, pull it back, get you to 150, and then you turn to focus. This lens was popular for a time, I understand, with some photographers in New York. I've owned this one for a while, used it a little bit. I just don't like manual focus zooms. Once they started coming out with autofocus, I did pick up a few autofocus zooms, the 35 to 70 2.8, which was also push-pull design, but it was autofocus. And also the 80 to 200 2.8, the original autofocus version, which was a nice lens, except it was big, it was heavy, it had no tripod socket. And that also was a push-pull design. However, again, it was autofocus, so I felt it worked better. So I don't like manual focus zooms. And I know a lot of you out there may disagree with me, and that's fine. We're all entitled to our opinion. But so I don't have a favorite. I own several of them. The one I probably used the most, it was a 28 to 45 f4.5. I just liked that. It wasn't a great range, but it was the first wide-angle zoom that I bought. But again, it was, at 4.5, trying to focus a 28 millimeter lens when it was at the 28 millimeter end is not that easy. There's a lot of depth of field. The image doesn't snap in and out of focus. You had to use a split image screen, and sometimes that screen would black out. So I wasn't crazy about that lens. I didn't keep it very long. Now that 28 to 45 was sharp. It was sharp throughout its limited range. But the thing I like best about that lens is it was a two-ring design. You had one ring you turned to focus. The other ring you turned to zoom. In fact, all the zooms I own today, my Z-mount zooms, my F-mount zooms, autofocus zooms, they're all two-ring design. I'm not even sure if anyone even makes a push-pull zoom anymore. Now, I know there were some photographers who actually preferred that, so you could just zoom and then focus without taking your hand off the ring. But like I said before, I never liked it. I always felt as you zoomed, you might change focus a little bit, and then you would have to refocus again. Once autofocus came in, as I said, then I went with zooms, and I think today's zooms are just great. And even though that 80-200 f4.5 manual focus Nikon zoom had a good reputation, again, I didn't like the mechanics of it, but I still preferred prime lenses. I mean, to this day, generally speaking, a prime is going to be sharper, it's going to be smaller and lighter than a zoom that goes out to that focal length, whatever focal length that may be. So if you have some manual focus zooms, some that you really like, let me know. Try to change my mind maybe, but I don't think you can. Like I said, mainly because of the mechanics of it. And, today we're using it on a mirrorless camera with focus peaking and the expanded view, the zoomed in view that you could do with a mirrorless camera. It may be a little better, but I like the autofocus zooms, and that's what I will always stick with. And at this point, I just want to thank my subscribers. I recently went over 5,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate it. And I'd like to know what you guys would like to see in future videos. It seems my videos talking about individual cameras, showing how they work, seem to be very popular. Also, I recently did some stuff on comparing noise between a few cameras, namely the Nikon D700 and the Nikon Z8. So I know, people seem to be interested in that kind of stuff, and it seems less interest in how-to kind of things. I did something on event photography. I've done something on a communion photo session I did. There was very little interest in that. So are you more interested in gear type stuff? And I do plan to do some additional videos on vintage manual focus lenses, an individual video on individual lenses. So, let me know what you think of that. And again, I just want to thank everyone who has subscribed and who leave comments and ask questions. And please, keep doing it. As always, I appreciate your comments and questions, and I always try to respond to all comments and questions. Please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I publish a new video every Monday morning and Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So I will talk to you then.